Mario Kart 8 is one of the greatest racing games ever made. Am I gonna get in trouble for saying that? Released in 2014, Mario Kart 8 was quickly revered for its creative track design, smooth controls, and for being Mario Kart. Of course it's gonna do well. However, Mario Kart 8 was released for the Wii U, and I don't know if you knew this, but only like 7 people own that thing, so Mario Kart 8 only sold 8 million copies. Now that might seem like a lot, but if you look at this game's sales compared to previous entries in the Mario Kart series, this game did not sell as well as any of the other Mario Kart games. Not at all. So how do you fix this? Well, it's easy actually. So you make a new console which completely separates itself from the Wii U. Don't make it sell 7 units, instead 139 million. Okay, cool. Now re-release Mario Kart 8 on the new console and have it sell 60 million copies. Okay, cool. When Nintendo's next console, the Nintendo Switch, released in 2017, one of the first games they put on the Switch was a remastered version of Mario Kart 8 from the Wii U. This was such a good idea. Why make a new Mario Kart when you could just re-release the previous one, which ages like Jesus' wine, and not many people got to play it because the Wii U's sales, or lack thereof. Why aren't you laughing? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe quickly becomes literally the best-selling game on the Switch when it's pretty much verbatim the Wii U game, with hardly any additions. The most notable addition they added was adding an extra bubble to your item slot so you could hold 2 items at once. Cool. This was always kind of a feature in Mario Kart games, using one item for defense and using the other for offense, so it's cool to see that they actually made this a full feature. This is kind of the trend with these Wii U Switch ports. Nintendo pumps them out when they don't know what else to release, and more often than not, they hardly include any substantial new content. Doesn't mean I won't buy them. In one game, they'll add an entire side mode, which would work standalone as almost a brand new game. In another, well, this one is funky mode. How could I dunk on it? Or they'll just add literally nothing. Like I said before, Mario Kart 8 quickly became the best-selling game on the Switch, a game that technically the Switch does not own. There's maybe a lesson about stealing here, but I'm not the one to tell it. This caused Nintendo to make no original Mario Kart for the Switch, unless you want to count this. No mainline Mario Kart game on the Switch, because why would they? Mario Kart 8 is selling just fine. More than fine. Well, that's where you need to switch platforms for a moment to sorry. Ah! A mobile game? Just piss in my mouth at that point. You ever go to your little cousin's house and catch the rare glimpse of them doing something on their iPad that isn't watching certain YouTube Shorts content? Well, they're most likely pursuing the ever-so-vast mobile game market. You can play such elegant games on your phone, like Flying Sheep, yeah with a Q, Family Guy: The Quest for Stuff, I'll be saving this one for later, and Mario Kart. Yeah, I'll get to this one. Mobile games aren't exactly the, how do I say this nicely, not the most sophisticated games on the market. They're often littered with ads made with the budget of a chipped penny and used napkin, and also not very good. But the reason why, sorry to anyone I may offend by saying this, the reason why these games are pumped out so much is because little kids eat them up. They're usually made to be colorful, addicting, and satisfying. That's why you usually find these paired up with a Family Guy clip.
Peter, what are you doing? Crack? What the fuck?
So of course any kid would want to play these, so how did Mario get involved? In 2016 came the release of Miitomo, a free-to-play game made by Nintendo to release on mobile markets. There are only 2 things I remember in 2016, the unveiling of Sonic Forces and Miitomo. No other notable events. None whatsoever. However, sooner than later, Miitomo shut down. No! But later came the release of Super Mario Run, an auto-runner platformer made with Nintendo's moneymaker, Mario. Mario Run is actually very fun for being just a dinky little mobile game. It's very enjoyable for 4 levels until you need to fork over $10 for the rest of it. You may have gotten me this time, Nintendo, but it won't happen again. Ignore that. For being on the mobile game market, the most greedy place ever, Mario Run was actually pretty fair. Everything else in this game besides the main campaign was free to play with no ads, but to be able to play the rest of the levels in the game you had to pay $10? Seems fair. So how do we apply gacha mechanics into Mario Kart? Nintendo released a few other mobile games after this, but their next big release was the newest Mario Kart Tour, on your phone. It's not that good. To give this game some credit, you can technically play the game just fine for free without ads. That's where my credit ends. This game had so many tracks added, remakes of dozens of older tracks and even some original ones, but you couldn't play them anytime. No, you had to wait till the next tour to play a new batch of courses. Why? And not just that, but to unlock extra characters and skins in this game, you need to get rubies. And with those rubies, you can go to the pipe, which allows you to possibly get a new character or a duplicate of Toad, who knows. And how do you get those rubies? Well, you can get some by grinding the game. But say you're like me and you just want to unlock Funky Kong without playing for hours. Well, fork over some cash and Funky Kong can be yours, no questions asked. I should be more upset at myself for this. But the truth is, Nintendo didn't want to stop here with their cash grab Ponzi scheme. They needed to make even more money, which is why Nintendo decided to reuse many of the courses and assets originally made for Mario Kart Tour and add them as paid DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch. Finally, I don't need to play these tracks on my damn phone anymore. So that's why in March of 2022 came the release of Wave 1 of the Mario Kart 8 Booster Pass course, which you can buy as standalone DLC or get for free as long as you paid for the Nintendo Switch Online expansion. I bought the Booster Pass standalone right after it came out because I love Mario Kart 8, of course I wanted more of it, and I also refused to pay for the Nintendo Switch Online expansion. I bought it later. I'm practically pissing away my money at this point. The Booster Pass must have been a smash hit for Nintendo. More content for an already great game, how could they mess it up? They found a way. Okay, so while the Booster Pass reuses a lot of assets and course themes from Mario Kart Tour, the courses in the Booster Pass are remade for Mario Kart 8. These do not mix in well with the base game at all. God, this is such an awful showcase of just everything. Base Mario Kart 8, in my opinion, has the greatest track list of any Mario Kart game. They're all greatly designed, all have great themes, and all use the anti-gravity mechanic in the game extensively. So when you bring over remade mobile tracks, they're gonna have some issues mixing well with these. To make it clear, while these tracks primarily use the assets of Mario Kart Tour, they're remade to better fit in this game. However, I don't know, Wave 1 of the Booster Passes kinda isn't good. They chose to give us some of the most lifeless, basic, brain-dead courses to give us first, so let's start with the city tracks. In each tour of Mario Kart Tour, they would have 1 or 2 city tracks based off of, you guessed it, cities and places around the world. Now these tracks work fine on mobile, but in a much more tight and precise game like Mario Kart 8, an actual Mario Kart game, some changes had to be made. So the city tracks in Wave 1 of the Booster Pass are some of the worst in the game. Paris and Tokyo could have been made into excellent tracks in this game, but I feel like the execution of them here is just not good. The track layout on these can be confusing at times. Not once did I ever go off track enough to find out where to go on any other tracks besides these ones, and that's because these tracks are so wide and have so many pathways to go on, which sounds like a good idea in concept, but in execution, it just really doesn't work out. You may say, well, it's just the city tracks that aren't great in this wave. Well, in all honesty, it's kind of just the entire wave. In each wave of the Booster Course Pass, we got 2 cups to race through, 8 tracks in total. And the retro tracks they brought back in these, and I don't mean this lightly, are some of the most basic, cookie-cutter tracks they could have possibly chosen. You have tracks like Toad Circuit, Choco Mountain, Shroom Ridge, which all take place in the same basic happy world, which is fine, but 3 damn times? And by the way, Toad Circuit is the worst track in all of Mario Kart 8, no doubt about it. No interesting set pieces or stage hazards, it's just through and through a basic and boring track. Even the track layout sucks. In fact, this is literally the track they make you play while updating the game of Mario Kart Tour. If that doesn't say something, I don't know what does. Even the other tracks in this wave don't stand out that much and are kind of just lame. Ninja Hideaway, which is a Mario Kart Tour original track based off of Chinese culture, in execution just doesn't feel special or stand out from any other track in the game. The best track and only track in my opinion that's truly good in Wave 1 of the Booster Pass is the remade Coconut Mall from Mario Kart Wii. Coconut Mall is probably the most iconic track from Mario Kart Wii, so to see it remade with the great controls and graphics of Mario Kart 8 is beyond nice. However, still in comparison to any other tracks from base Mario Kart 8, all 8 tracks in this wave of the Booster Pass just do not hold a candle to base Mario Kart 8. I feel like this just immediately put a bad taste in everyone's mouth for the Booster Course, because this was literally the first impressions we got of it. If they could have spread the weaker tracks out to some of the later cups, it would have been fine, but to dump all of it on us at once with the first wave was not a very welcoming move by Nintendo. And trust me, I know how it feels to be welcomed by Nintendo. They spit on my shoes anytime I walk into the video game aisle in Walmart. So while this was only Wave 1 of the Booster Course Pass, the standards set by this wave were not much to go off of, which is why everyone was eagerly waiting for Wave 2 of the Booster Course Pass. And in August of 2022, we got just that, and I mean, it's better. Again, first looking at the city tracks, New York Minute and Sydney Sprint are better than the previous city tracks, but I feel like there's such a huge missed opportunity here. New York and Sydney are such interesting cities, and while these tracks are okay, if they just spent a little bit more time on them, they could have been great. Some of the tracks here just feel a little rushed, most notably in Sydney Sprint, where there's this part where you drive through this place and you get to see some audience members. The audience members are just flat copy and pasted models around. Just tell me this doesn't look rushed, it looks like the f***ing trees from Mario 64. The rest of the courses in this wave are, well, they exist, that's for sure. I'm sorry, but the lowest tracks in this wave are as bad, if not worse, than the worst tracks from Wave 1. Mario Circuit 3 is such a bland, nothing burger track. It's a remake of a track made on the Super Nintendo, but it looks ugly to me with the lack of detail on any of the models, and I honestly would have preferred if they just reused the skybox from the Super Nintendo game and pixelated the models, because that would have at least given it a style. This track is just unappealing and boring. Katamari Desert just feels like a remake of the N64 version without any pizzazz. Snowland it's Snowland. What am I supposed to say about this track? Just because there are some pretty low lows in this wave doesn't mean it's terrible. There are some highs here, and those highs are actually pretty good. Waluigi Pinball always stood out to me. It's Pinball with Waluigi, how could it not? And Mushroom Gorge is also very good. But Wave 2 is most well known for its original track, Sky High Sundae. It's not very good. I saw a ton of people say that this was the worst track in the game, which no, that goes to Toad Circuit, but this track just kind of falls flat on everything. It's a track based off of ice cream, which sounds fun, but there's nothing here besides ice cream everywhere. Am I supposed to believe this feasibly exists in the Mario world? It kind of just feels like they wanted to do this and they did without putting much thought into it. It could have been a lot cooler. Take a track like Electrodome from Mario Kart 8. They wanted to make a track based off of electronic music, so they made an entire city based off of electronic music. Sky High Sundae is just really big ice cream. How did it get this way? I just don't feel anything with this track, and you guys know me, I love to feel with my Mario Kart games. Wave 2 of the booster course is definitely a step in the right direction for this DLC. I would say it's far from great, but there are some good levels here, but also Mario Circuit 3. Wave 3 of the booster course released in December of 2022, and oh my god, it's actually good. No, this is really good. They really stepped up their game here. Looking at the city tracks here, first we got London Loop. It's a little wonky at some points, but otherwise it's pretty good. Only real complaint here is that it's not very realistic. If you go to London, you're supposed to get stabbed. And next is Berlin Byways. It's very good, and it also confirms that the Cold War canonically exists in the Mario universe, so take that as you will. Looking away from the city tracks, we got some great tracks here, like Maple Treeway, Peach Highways, Merry Mountain. Yeah, this wave released around Christmas time, so why not give us a Christmas-themed track to race on? In Maple Treeway, I just love this track. You race on a maple tree. Imagine how gross your tires would be. Even the tracks that aren't so good here are still pretty good. Like, I might not be a big Boo Lake fan, but I will admit that it's a pretty good level, just not my thing. I fucking hate ghosts. I remember being very disappointed that the original track in this wave was Christmas themed because the icon for one of the cups here was a moon from Mario Odyssey, so I thought we'd get a track based off of New Donk City or something. No, that was such a big missed opportunity. Otherwise, this wave was such a huge step up from the last two, I can actually feel something while playing this. Don't take that in a weird way. Wave 4 of the Booster Pass released in March of 2023, and this is great. Hell, maybe even better than the previous wave. This wave introduces something we didn't know we would be getting in the Booster Pass, a new character. And this is the first new character added to Mario Kart 8 in like 9 years. It was Birdo. But we can see that under Birdo's character slot, there's extra characters that would be added as the Booster Pass continues, and we all know how badly I need that funky mode. The city tracks in this wave are honestly very good, based off of Amsterdam and Bangkok. You know, there's an easy joke I can make here, but I'm a mature adult, and I wouldn't do that. Amsterdam sounds like Hamsterdam. But we also get an extra city track in this game, being Singapore Speedway, based off of, you know, Singapore. I don't know one person who is clamoring for an extra city track, since these are definitely some of the worst tracks in the Booster Pass besides, you know, Toad Circuit and Mario Circuit 3, of course. But they have greatly improved since the pass began, so you can't be too upset. And Singapore is a cool-ass country to race in, so you can't be too upset. Some other tracks you get in this wave are DK Summit, Waluigi Stadium, which are both great, and you know how much I love my Donkey Kong tracks. DK Summit doesn't exactly radiate Donkey Kong, it's basically a big ski mountain, and I would like some more Donkey Kong in my Donkey Kong tracks, but it is in character for Donkey Kong to own a random ski resort. Like, how do you think he pays for all those bananas? Waluigi Stadium has a lot of mud. Oh boy! However, Wave 4 is one of my favorite tracks in the entirety of Mario Kart 8, the original track in this wave, Yoshi's Island. Now, if you know me, you know how much I love Yoshi's Island. It's one of my favorite platformers ever, so to have an entire Mario Kart track based off of this game is awesome. It has an arts and crafts art style similar to Yoshi's Woolly World, or Yoshi's Crafted World if you like Satan. And this track is so nice. Everything Yoshi just has such a nice, bubbly aesthetic. I would live here. Wave 4 is really good. Donkey Kong and Yoshi, how could you not love it? But seriously, the Booster Pass at this point is 100% proven its worth with a new character and promise of even more, and actual good track design which fit well into Mario Kart 8 as a game. Wave 5 of the Booster Pass was released in July of 2023 and added 3 new characters. We got Kamek, Wiggler, and Petey Piranha. I really like the addition of Petey Piranha and Kamek, however I could live without Wiggler as a character. Sorry to all the Wiggler fans out there. Fun fact, Kamek was originally meant for Mario Kart 64 and actually appears in some beta footage of the game, however it was scrapped soon after for Donkey Kong, so win.
Okay.
And he was meant to be added in Mario Kart 8, but was also scrapped before the game released, so it's nice to see him finally make his Mario Kart debut in this DLC. I like the return of Petey Piranha more though, that dude's chill as hell. Like Wave 4, this wave has an additional city track, so we have Athens Drift based off of the capital of Greece, Los Angeles Labs based off of the worst city in the world, and Vancouver Velocity based off of that one place in Canada. Athens Drift is okay, Vancouver Velocity is a cool name, that's all I have to say about those tracks. Los Angeles Labs is so unrealistic. Los Angeles does not look like this. I've been there. Where the hell are the crackhead fortune tellers and shit on the sidewalk? Mario Kart is bullshit! The other tracks in this wave are pretty good. I think that Wave 4 is much better, the whole Yoshi's Island track, but this one has some good ones. I specifically like Daisy Cruiser and Squeaky Clean Sprint. Squeaky Clean Sprint is a racetrack where you race in a bathroom. May seem gross, but it does look pretty clean in here, so we're probably cool. I hope. I love this track. I can't believe they put a track from Mario Kart Home Circuit into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Wave 5 is a very good wave, but I think it's worse in terms of tracks than Wave 4, but that's fine. They've already proven themselves to get out of the slump they were in with the first two waves. Honestly, the reason why most people remember this wave so much is because of the addition of the new characters, which is fine, but this is probably one of the more forgettable waves, all things considered. But we still have one more wave to go over, Wave 6, which would conclude the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Pass, giving us our final 8 tracks and final 3 characters. Wave 6 released in November of 2023 and included 4 new characters. Oh my god. Oh my god! They added Funky Kong to Mario Kart 8, the one character I wanted! Listen, I think Mario Kart 8's character roster is flawed, but with the addition of Funky Kong, nothing can be flawed if Funky Kong makes an appearance. They also added Diddy Kong as a playable character, even more Donkey Kong representation, you've gotta respect it. Then you got Pauline, who has been consistently appearing in Mario spin-offs since her return in Super Mario Odyssey. I like her appearance here. And lastly, we got Peachette. I know what you are, boy. We got a stinker here being Peachette, which definitely brings this wave's character roster down a slot, but come on. Funky Kong. Funky Kong! In this wave we only get 2 city tracks, which is sort of odd considering the last 2 waves both had a bonus city track, but I'm not complaining. Thank God. First we got Rome Avanti, based off of Rome. I really like the architecture in this track, it's very nice. And next we got Madrid Drive, and there's this really cool part in this track where you enter a soccer field, or sorry, a football field for the non-American listeners. In this wave you get tracks like Daisy Circuit from Mario Kart Wii Rainbow Road. There's a lot of Mario Kart Wii representation if you haven't noticed yet. But I think that Mario Kart Wii has some of the best tracks in the series, so it's nice to see that most of the best ones have been added to Mario Kart 8. The original track in this wave is Piranha Plant Cove, and I really like this track. It's like an underwater track, and it's themed after piranha plants for the most part, I think. And another track I really like is Rosalina's Ice World from Mario Kart 7. But of course my favorite track is DK Mountain. It's a Donkey Kong track in the save wave that adds Funky Kong and Diddy Kong. We needed some more Donkey Kong representation. The wave in the Booster Course Pass ends with the track Wii Rainbow Road, and something about this being the final track in the game just makes me really happy. The triumphant music, the colorful colors, it just feels right. I probably would have preferred one last original track to end Mario Kart 8 after nearly 10 years, but this one is probably the best retro track they could have chosen for this. But with that concludes the Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass. This DLC may have had a bad start with the first 2 waves and had some meh courses thrown in afterward, but I think this DLC has really proved itself to be great after around the 3rd wave. And to be fair, you're literally doubling the track size in the game for just $25. That's crazy. The base tracks in Mario Kart 8 may be infinitely better than pretty much all of this, but that's fine. They still went above and beyond for this DLC, which is a rare thing for Nintendo to do. They would resell their employees Band-Aids if they could. There's only one more thing I think they should have added to this game, and I think that would have made it the most definitive game ever. Funky mode, it's funky mode.